Um, what the fuck did I just watch? Usually, when I start one of these, I just say, hello, boys and girls, but I don't really know what to say after watching that. I am legit lost for words, and I can't even. I don't. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Um, Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clint Zoka. Welcome to another My Thoughts On, and today I will be talking about Midsommar. This is the new horror film. This is directed by Ari Aster. I hope I pronounced his name right. He is the one who is responsible for Hereditary, or Hereditary, but I call it Hereditary. Easily the scariest horror film I've ever seen. And when I see horror films, they do give me chills, but they never disturb me at all. Hereditary left a huge impact on me. It's one of them films that I will never see again because it's too much. That, and I thought the film towards the third act got a bit convoluted. So I really like it, but I would never watch it again. And I've heard of Midsommar. I haven't seen it yet until, well, recently. I heard it got, I think for the most part, good. Like good reviews, good ratings. I think it's one of the best of this year. I can't confirm. Um, but let's talk about Midsommar. Well, I'll try to because this film mind boggled me. I'll try my best. I really will. So it's about this group of teenagers who go on this trip to Sweden to visit this cultural ritual group in Sweden. So it's basically like some cult group that do this tradition different to others. And one of them named Danny, played by Florence Pugh. I think. Sorry if I pronounced her second name wrong. I think she was in Fighting with My Family, the Stephen Merchant wrestling film. So that's also another film I need to watch too, and I think she's going to be in Black Widow. So I'll give them this. At least she's actually getting more work and attention. So this girl, right? So her mum and dad and her sister have died, and she's been traumatized by it. Like not just like crying or and all that. No, I mean she is physically traumatized and heartbroken, and she can't even control herself when people talk about the loss of her family. So she decided to come along with Christian, played by Jack Rennor, who is Danny's boyfriend, and you got Pearl as well. You got Josh and Mark, who's weirdly enough played by Will Poulter. And they go there, and if you know A24, you know this film is not going to go well. Not film wise, I mean in the events of it, this is a horror film. Oh boy, where do I start? God, I don't remember Hereditary being this overly complicated. You could say this film is complex if you want. If you think it's complex, good for you. I like complex films as long as I can have a good understanding and it has a deeper meaning. And sometimes it requires more than one viewing. And even if you don't understand it, if you can watch other people's opinions about it, you'll get a good idea. If you just watch it and try to understand it and you go, oh, I don't get it, it's not because you're an idiot. It's simply not made for you. With that said, this film, for the most part, I kind of understood. of the traditions that this cult does, the choices that these characters do. But when the shit gets down, I thought the film kind of hasn't lost my attention. I will still watch it, but I was like, what? I legit got confused. And I know I'm not a person who's into culture or rituals or anything like that, so this won't be a film that I will completely 100% understand. But good God, let's address the elephant in the room. This film is also just as disturbing as Hereditary. I would say Hereditary is more disturbing than this. There is two scenes in the film where both characters' heads get squashed by hammers. And usually in like 12A films or 15 films or whatever, you would just see someone with a hammer hitting them, but you can't see the head for reasons. In this film, they actually show what happens after they hit the characters with a hammer. You can see their squashed faces, blood, and you actually see them do it. You can actually see them hit their heads. It's like, oh. And I thought Hereditary was fucked up. This movie is far more fucked up than that. It gets weirder from there. And just like Hereditary, I rarely cover my hand. Like, you know when people just either lean back or just cover their faces with their hands in case something scary happens. I had to do this for Midsommar like 3 or 4 times, like too much. Oh my god, it's so fucking disturbing. And usually I don't mind blood. If it's like blood all over the face or their arms cut off, but legs, whatever. Squashed head. No, I cannot fucking deal with that. That is too much. This director certainly knows how to fucking make me scarred for life. Besides that, for the most part, now I'm trying to think of what to say because I really don't know what to say. It's interesting. I'll give the film that. It has lots of interesting ideas. I think and I think the whole thing with Danny's, traumatization of her dead family is interesting too, but that never really goes anywhere. It does get mentioned, but it never works into the plot, which is strange. There's also one where this lady is in love with Christian, and that I can see what they're doing there, but that also doesn't go anywhere too. And keep in mind, this is just from my perspective of the film. It will be, at the very least, 90 to 95% a lot more different than yours. So please just try and keep an open mind and just, try and see where I'm coming from. Because, again, I love complex films and I love how deep they are with their message and themes, but there will be a few that I will not understand completely. So just try and keep an open mind. And I think the first few minutes of the film is interesting. It doesn't go completely horrific, but visually it starts to get more interesting, and it also tells its story, I guess, entirely with style. And when they get there, it did seem quite peaceful and interesting and quite lovely, honestly. It reminded me of Far Cry 5. Think about it. But as the film would go on, I was like, okay, and then it just went to, what the fuck? I don't get this at all. And usually I would say it has good writing, bad writing, or that stuff. It has comedy, but it's not really one of the main recognisable categories here. Gee, I don't even know what the fuck to say. It's funny, it's chuckle-worthy, I guess, but whatever this man was looking for, whatever Ari Aster was, writing, directing, he got it, because this film is just equally as complex as Hereditary, in all honesty. And I can't necessarily say this film's execution is good or bad, because I didn't know what the fuck was going on. But I'll give them this, it's interesting, it makes this world more scary than it is peaceful. And as it goes on, it just gets more and more strange. So I guess the director did what he did, and he succeeded at what he wanted, I guess. Yeah. Visuals. Well, Hereditary wasn't very pleasant looking, which is understandable, but with Midsommar, despite being rated 18 and a horror film, this is a very gorgeous looking film. It's beautiful, it's got great cinematography. The place that they go to is wonderful looking. It looks very traditional, it looks bright and colourful. The costumes that they all wear look off-putting and very obvious, but nice. The effects when it comes to these characters getting fucking brutally killed, that looks great. It looks real, even though it's not, but it is still fucking disturbing as hell. The camera shots are good. I do like it when the film actually has like a lot of, for the most part, one shot, like one continuous shots, which is very, very good. There are even some really, really odd shots, like when these characters are in the car and the camera just moves up from the car and then it switches back and it turns the other way around. And I can't say much because it's hard to explain, but it's quite unique. Visually, it's a very unique looking film. And the CGI, even though it's not very noticeable, can be good. That's all I can say, because there's not much I can say about it. For the most part, visually, it's just fucking gorgeous and very well shot with lovely cinematography. That's it, really. Characters and acting. I like the main group of characters. Danny is like the main, dramatic main character, while Christian is like the supportive boyfriend character. Pell, who's actually, he's actually part of the group and he's actually from Sweden. Josh is I don't know. He does want to like research about the whole group and the ritual and culture. That's about it. And Mark is the comic relief. And that's it. Mark was a bit funny and amusing. I like Danny and Christian the best, and I think they're probably more interesting than everyone else. And you've got the people from the cultural group who are visually creepy, from how they walk and how they move and how they speak. They are equally as creepy, unsettling, and insane. There's also Simon and Connie, who are there for only a few minutes and then they're just gone. That's all I can say about the characters. I don't really have a favourite character. I like the main two, Christian and Danny, and maybe Mark. But that's it, 'cause none of them really stood out. And okay. To their credit, the acting is very good. I think the acting is really, really good. Florence Pugh. Florence Puth is really good, and she can pull off an American accent surprisingly quite well. And this is actually quite strange too, because there's like quite a few British actors in this film, like Will Poulter and her, which is, give them that, they can do really damn good American accents, and I can easily see why. Could have picked someone else, but you know. Jack Renner is good as Christian. Wilhelm Plumgren is good as Pell. William Jackson Harper as Josh is good. Everyone does a good job, and even the people from the cult do a good job of being creepy and mentally fucked up. Although with Florence as Danny, when she breaks down and cries, and when she like goes at the beginning when she finds out that her parents and her sister died, it does seem a bit odd and fake. And I know she's supposed to be like really traumatized and really fucking sad, but the way she did it, and this is not her fault, she did try her best to do this, but it did seem a bit off and a little bit humorous, despite the fact that it's not funny. But for the most part, she was convincing. On a side note, the characters are a mixed bag. Some of them are interesting and I guess relatable. And then you've got others who are just confusingly creepy, but thanks to some strong performances and great acting, I think these characters are good enough, I suppose. On a side note, the score for the movie is hauntingly beautiful. I'll put it that way. Speaking of music, this film does that cliche of building up suspense in a scene, and the music gets louder and louder, and it cuts to a scene where it just cuts the music entirely, and there's just quietness. It's trying to do that a lot, but it never really works or never feels like it's in the moment. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was really looking forward to Midsommar, despite the fact that I'm not a big fan of Hereditary. Yeah, I really like it, but it's too much for me, too scary. But I understood where the film was coming from, at the very least, until the third act, which kind of made it all more confusing. This film, although far from terrible, I didn't really understand what the fuck was going on. It just kind of messed with my head. Midsommar could have been an even more bigger, complex, great film, but as it is, it's good. I think good is fine. It's fucking disturbing as hell. I think, well, not quite as disturbing as Hereditary, but still fucked up. It is, I'll give them this. It's visually gorgeous. It has great cinematography. The place they go to, which the name I forgot, in Sweden, looks great. The acting is phenomenal. It has a great score. The film did start off interesting, and it did get my attention, and I wasn't bored. So there's that, but at the same time, I'm not a person who's into culture or rituals or anything like that. So the film's I was just left scratching my head like, was that supposed to be complex and deep? Which I can see it was trying to do that, but I never felt it at all. So yeah, I don't hate this film at all. I don't. I just didn't quite get into it as everyone else did. It's just good. It's just good. As for my rating, that's hard. It's not a 5. It's not a 5.9 or a 6.9. I'm going to say, that's hard. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to say 7.2. Mainly because I don't hate this film at all, even though the 7.2 is mainly for how fucking disturbing it is, but also because it's a film I'm never really going to understand. I will probably never see it again. It's not for me, honestly. Far from terrible, but not that great. It could have been better. So yeah, Midsommar. Oh Jesus! I'm not gonna lie, it did hurt my head a lot. So yeah, next up I'm gonna try and do Brightburn, and yesterday. I don't know if I'll be next. It will probably be at some point. But I know the next film I'll be seeing is Jumanji: The Next Level. It has some advanced screenings this week. It'll be out next week, but I'll be seeing it quite early. So look out for that. And if you are brave enough to watch Midsommar, or if you have watched it, what did you think about it? Do you think it was good, bad, decent? Did you think it was scary? Let me know below. I am legit quite curious to see what people think of this, because I know it's got good reviews and all, but I'm really, really curious as to what audiences think, and see if they think it's good, bad, or even scarier. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, Jesus Christ, I hope this director doesn't make another horror film. If he does, most likely I'll just end up watching it, and if it's just as confusing as Midsommar and Hereditary and scary, I think I have some films that I will... I think I found my unwatchable films there. This is not a good sign. It really isn't.